Hello, welcome to another episode of Xan Talk Show. So today's we don't have a topic yet, so these are going to be the topic. I posted in the YouTube, description box. You can go to the link, Xan Talk Show topic notes. So pick one item from any of these and paste it in the chat box, okay? And then we'll talk about that. Otherwise, I'm gonna do my stuff. I'm gonna do what's needed. I'm gonna work on my website, so I need to do a lot of work. So let me say again, okay? So pick a topic of the here, and we'll do that. Okay. So today's talk show. Let me. So I'm gonna topics, guys. Jesus. Okay, so Yasin says, "Hi, quick question. What do you think about Elixir as a language?" God, shit, that's off topic. Can you, that's off topic. Elixir, Elixir. Okay, let me tell you about that. So again, but I want you guys pick a topic here. Okay, so that's what we're gonna talk about. Yeah, but anyway, yeah, that's a good question because I said that you can pick any topic in the first 5 minutes. Okay, Elixir. First of all, I don't know much about the Elixir language. It's a functional programming language based on Erlang, I think, and in JavaScript. So yeah, so let's see, Elixir. So let's open that. Elixir is a dynamic functional language for building scalable, maintainable applications. Elixir runs on Erlang virtual machine. Okay, Erlang is a functional programming language known for its particular way of doing multi concurrency. Running stuff in parallel, and so you have thousands or 10,000 objects. They are all functional and they pass messages to each other, something like that. I don't know Erlang neither. It will be interesting to learn, but so I don't know Erlang. So Erlang is one of the earliest successful and commercial functional programming language used by the telecommunication giant in Norway or somewhere in Scandinavia. So it's a very successful commercial functional programming language. In fact, we could say Erlang is the first commercially viable, powerful, used in industry, heavy industry functional programming language. Because vast majority of functional programming language are more or less academic toys, like the scheme list, like Haskell, most of them. So Erlang is probably, I would say, the first used in industry. What I mean by industry, I mean the computing industry. Mega corporations, they use it. So Erlang. So Elixir is a derivative of that Erlang. Okay, and I believe it runs on basically it's web-based. So let's read. So these capabilities and Elixir tooling allows developers to be productive in several domains, such as web development. Yeah, that's essentially the primary, I suppose, the primary use of Elixir. So Elixir is, to me, seems like a derivative, bringing Erlang to web dev. Erlang in JavaScript environment, basically. So that is that. So that's what So that's what I don't know Elixir. Okay, so but that's basically what it is. And for what and Elixir. So who did it? Who wrote it? It's Elixir. When you talk about Elixir, another language usually mentioned in parallel is Elm, ELM. That's another functional programming language for the web dev. Okay, ELM. So what do I think of it? Elixir. So Elixir is a functional concurrent general purpose programming language that runs on the Beam virtual machine, which is also used to implement Erlang. Okay, Elixir builds on top of Erlang and shares the same abstractions for building distributed fault-tolerant applications. Yeah, fault tolerant is another major salient point of Erlang system. I don't know how it works. I always wanted to learn, but I just never get to. So, meaning that you can have part of the system down, is your work. It just spawn thousands, millions of what object or processes, whatever they call it. So that's the nature of Erlang. So it can tolerant destruction, much like internet. So Elixir also provides productive tooling and an extensive design. The latter is supported by compile-time meta-programming with macros and polymorphism via protocols. Okay, Elixir is used by companies. Here's the marketing part. This part is contributed by the Elixir fanatics. They go to Wikipedia and they started to say who is using Elixir. So Elixir is used by companies such as Ramp, PageDuty, don't know, Discord, okay, Brex, don't know, what about Pinterest, okay, Mars, Bleacher Report, and Online University, blah, 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 blah. For building embedded systems, the community organizes yearly events in the United States, as well as minor local events and conferences. Okay, so yeah, but I want to know who wrote it, okay, Jose Van, let's magnify. Yeah, Nokia, right. Greg and Doc, hello. Yeah, that's right. Erlang is used by Nokia. Wait. Okay, you are talking about something else. So anyway, so yeah, okay, so you are saying Elixir is used by Nokia, okay. Nokia is kind of, they've been robbed by Apple. They've been defeated by Apple. So Jose Valem is the creator of Elixir programming language, a research and development project created something. His goal was to enable higher extensibility and productivity in the Erlang virtual machine, while keeping compatibility with Erlang's ecosystem. Elixir was aimed for large-scale, blah, blah, blah. Elixir uses features of Ruby Erlang closure. What? Okay, so Elixir may not be. Is the question I want to know is Elixir derivative of Erlang, or is it fairly very different? But that it uses the Erlang's virtual environment. Does you know? Yasin. So what do I think about it? I don't have much opinion. My opinion is that if you're gonna I think it's great. Okay, I would use it, except that the vast majority of web dev is JavaScript and TypeScript, and also okay, if you want to use Elixir for web dev, suppose you are web dev, you do web servers or front end or back end, so that you have several choices, and suppose you want functional programming, you have several choices. You can use JavaScript, using the functional programming features and avoid OOP. Then and you probably want to use TypeScript, which is a superset of JavaScript. Okay, so that's the most popular. That's widely accepted. So that's JavaScript plus TypeScript. Okay, then you use maybe some frameworks such as Deno, Vue, Facebook's whatever. There are so many. Facebook. So what's the name? Jesus. JavaScript framework, Facebook. Certainly, I forgot. Anyway, so if you want to do web dev, and you want a functional programming, so there are several choices. The mainstream is JavaScript plus TypeScript. That's one thing. Now Elixir is another choice, and the other one is Elm, I suppose. Okay, these are all functional programming languages. Okay. Actually, if I started to talk about this, there are quite a lot. So Elm is a choice, also functional. Then there is also PureScript. I'm not gonna show it. There's also PureScript. Okay, derived from or borrowed idea from Haskell. Okay, PureScript, Elm, Elixir. Then close that. Yeah, I hate these websites that requires JavaScript. This is not so good. Okay, so you have Elm. Okay, let's show. Okay, so actually, since we are talking about it, let's show PureScript. Let's show all the, things. Okay, so here's Wikipedia. Here's a PureScript. It's kind of based on Haskell. Okay, all these are primarily, I believe, primarily for doing web dev. Okay, then you have the OCaml based called ML script. They keep changing their name. Buckle script. We'll find it. ReasonML. Okay, so very confusing, but in the past 2 years or so, they consolidated into one programming language called ReasonML, I think. Okay, so hold on a second, let me find it. The ReasonML, the ML stands for meta language, which is the language where OCaml, F#, they are all derived from. So they are one family. So ReasonML is basically OCaml or ML, but they changed the syntax, so the syntax is more familiar. The syntax is more like JavaScript, but the language is OCaml. Okay. Similarly for F#, so here it is, Reason. And among them, I think Reason I'm more interested in. Okay, the ReasonML. Okay, so let me summarize. Okay, so if you want to do web dev and you don't want the mainstream JavaScript with TypeScript, then, and if you want functional programming, your choices are Reason based on OCaml or ML meta language. Okay, or you have PureScript, which is someone based on Haskell. Okay, this is the most pure, I believe, because it's just like Haskell. You cannot have mutability, things like that. Maybe I don't have any experience with any of these. Okay, so your choice is Reason, PureScript, okay, and Elm. Another one I don't know much about, but it's also functional. Then you have Elixir. Okay, so what do I think about it? Any of them? Well, the thing, I like them, but there are so many. And they all suffer from the unpopularity kind of problem, because if you are just doing your personal project, or toy programming or learning, any one of these is great. But if you want to, if you are going to create something big, then you might have some issues. I mean, it's like, not that you have issues. I mean, you can be successful, but it's okay. Here's a way to put it. Okay, if you want a job, let's say you just came out of college, you want to be employed, then you try to study Elixir for let's say 2 years, or Elm or PureScript or Reason. Your experience won't be helpful when you look for a job. That's my point. Unless you are really, really, really good, you became one of the master, then you, maybe there are 5 job choices. Maybe they hire you, maybe. But for each job, for one of these language, for each one of job you find, there are 100 more for JavaScript and TypeScript. You have lots of options. You don't have to move to another state or country. JavaScript and TypeScript. So that is my opinion about all these. Now, in my opinion, any of these would be much better than JavaScript, and I would say much better than TypeScript. JavaScript, even though in the past 10 years there's incredible amount of progress, but basically they refuse to create a new language, meaning that they want to keep it 100% backward compatible. Therefore, you have a huge amount of trash, baggage in JavaScript, lots of problems that will not go away. And you program JavaScript, you can try to not use certain operations that's bad, that's Asian from 1995. Yeah, you can do that, all that, but still there are a huge amount of fundamental problems, baggage, confusion in JavaScript that you cannot avoid. You can, as for example, the type, the class system, the instance of. Let me show you where. Okay, so very complex, tremendously complex and bad. The prototype key property, which is extremely confusing. Nobody can explain. Okay, I can tell you. You read this in detail. The new operator, the instance of the property key constructor, and they are trash. Okay, and their array, JavaScript array, is not a real array. Sometimes it becomes objects all of a sudden if you delete too many keys, too many elements, and then array is also an object. It's hugely confusing. Okay, JavaScript is the worst language. Okay, worst. And what about TypeScript? Yeah, TypeScript is a superset of JavaScript. Okay, so TypeScript is truly a superset. So any JavaScript is also a TypeScript. So what does TypeScript do? They just basically they add the ability to have type checking, so you can declare types, which is essential when your code becomes a few thousand lines, or more than 10,000 lines. It becomes essential. So essentially, all major corporations that use JavaScript, they are doing TypeScript. They are using TypeScript. So and types, it's a mainstream. However, TypeScript is 100% compatible with JavaScript. It's a superset. And JavaScript is 100% compatible with the Asian, JavaScript in 1995. So it's a huge of baggage in TypeScript as well. It's just a shit. It's a bag of shit. So that very bad. JavaScript, I try to like it because of the functional programming. The functional programming feature of just JavaScript is much better than Python. In Python, you can't do, but JavaScript got lots of watts. So, and TypeScript, so that's a big problem. So any of these reason, this is the one I'm most interested. Okay, so any of these, I would do them anytime better than JavaScript. ReasonML or PureScript or Elm or Elixir. So any of these is much better than JavaScript. But the problem is you have limited opportunities when you want to make money out of it. That's a key issue, and this is important issue. If all you do is just totally programming for personal project, you already have money, you don't care for a job, that's fine. You can pick any of these. But for most people, making money is the key. So that's my opinion. Whether to use it, that's my opinion. Campbell Button. Okay, so I want to make a correction. My last video I did a by the way, let me peddle my JavaScript in depth tutorial. So I spent 2-3 years writing this. I read all the JavaScript specification, several versions of it, from cover to cover. So I spent 2 or 3 years writing this. So this, I would consider it the best JavaScript in depth anywhere on earth. that's a bit, megalomania thinking. But honestly, I would say my JavaScript in depth will be the top 3 resources on earth. Doesn't matter it's printed book or online, okay? And in fact, the Mozilla, most of you probably familiar with Mozilla. Mozilla is shit, okay? Well, there are nuances. Mozilla, for anything, the latest happening, Mozilla is the best, okay? You cannot find it anywhere. Not, there are also several. Yeah, let me talk about these JavaScript books, okay? The best JavaScript books. What are they? Okay, so I can recommend, my own, of course, then 2 or 3, okay? Let's go to, let's. I can recommend I consider only 2 or 3 that may be comparable in quality to mine, I would say, okay? So, let's go to Amazon. Let's see what, okay, so today's topic is just about, oh, wait, shit, this guy has a new version. Jesus, let's have a look. I haven't checked for a few, for 3 years, okay? So let me tell you, I know all about JavaScript books, okay? So, this, what the fuck? So let me tell you some of these books. Let me tell you my opinion. React, yeah, that's a Facebook thing, the most popular framework, React. This is great to know. They come up with a new version. The guy who decided to rewrite it. I mean, I wonder if if it's the same author or it's a new author with this, borrowing the old theme of this. If that's the case, then I'm not, you wouldn't be sure about that, about this book. Okay, so let's see. David Flanagan. Okay, this is fantastic. Okay, I didn't know. He came out with a new edition. When is this out? This is the best, okay? This is the best JavaScript book. I can tell you right away. I trust this guy. This David Flanagan. He's a professional tutorial writer. He, not just he's a professional programmer, but he also writes tutorials. He's working for Mozilla or somewhere before. But anyway. So I didn't know there's a new version. What date is this? When did it let's see, 2020. Oh, I didn't know this. So 2 years ago he decided he gonna update, so this one, okay? This one is one of the best, okay? I'm gonna tell you top 5 JavaScript resource, okay? This one is one of the best, and it's good to know he got a new version because the last version is like 10 years ago, 15 years ago, which is super outdated, okay? But I read, okay, so let's copy. Let's also do this. So this is the grade, okay? Let's just put it, okay? And I want to show you, so wait, hold on a second. So, for example, wait. So I put to today's talk show, so later on you guys can go buy it. Buy for my links. I make $1 or $2. If you guys like my stuff, pay me, okay? Donate. Go to my website. This is important. I want to, because if you like, my tutorial, my teachings, my talk show, go to my xali.info and Patreon me $5 or Amazon gift card me $20 or PayPal, okay? do that. There's also super chat, on YouTube. They take like 30%, or was it 40%? Very bad, the YouTube. Okay, so let's summarize a bit what we talked about, and that'll be it. Maybe 10 more minutes. Okay. What do you think of? So what are what's the Elm, Elixir, Elm programming language, and PureScript. Then there is ReasonML. Okay, that's the first thing we talked about. Then JavaScript and TypeScript. Okay, then we're gonna talk about the best resources for JavaScript. Okay, best tutorial, okay, and of course I want to show my website, JavaScript in depth. Okay. Okay, that's one of the top 5, I would say. Okay, if you ask me. So if you like my stuff, you can pay. You'll get the entire website downloaded in a zip file for JavaScript, including references to HTML, to Visual CSS. They are about let's see. Go to Diet. They are about 900 pages. Okay, including CSS reference. So JavaScript. Then you have JavaScript reference. All the objects and their methods. Object. Then you have array object, and then you have set map. Then you have a tutorial for DOM, which is the 90% of what you actually do when you do web dev. DOM, document object model or browser object model. This is what you actually do 90% of the time when you code JavaScript. And this is even more complex than JavaScript, DOM. Okay, so I have a tutorial that teach you how to create a website, interactive website without any framework. Okay, no React, no Vue, no nothing, no any of those libraries. Pure JavaScript built in your browser. Okay. So for example, change CSS, very easy. I just show you, make it red or make it blue. You can see that, how to change this, how to insert a node. Click me, insert, hello, so, and how to remove a node, so fundamental, using pure browser, you can do all this, okay, and then, HTML input button, you can see it says, building a user interface. Then you have some fancy ones, such as image rollover. This is Asian. This is like 25 years ago. They have this image rollover. Let me show you. I want to show you. Then there's a digital clock. Pop a new window. Fade element. Unfade. Fade. Okay. Unfade. Fade. Then you have tooltip. This is also interesting. You can hover and have tooltips. So the technology required for this is JavaScript and CSS. You need CSS because actually how this works is that it's actually a hack. You use CSS to create layers. CSS can allow you to have layers. So then you use JavaScript to detect the event of hover. Then you create a new layer, then show it. When the hover is outside of it, you remove that layer. So that's how tooltip is done, essentially a hack. it's kind of, yeah, it's a hack. Then you have this fun thing you might see. This is also Asian, 20 years ago, you have this kind of thing. And let me show you one more. Okay, then there's this one. You will see it sometimes, sometimes it's an ad or a menu or something that follows your scroll. Okay, so all using pure JavaScript, no framework, no nothing, and the code is the simplest and tight, the most tight possible. So that's part of, all these are part of DOM. And then you also have SVG tutorial, that shows you how to write this clock, JavaScript plus SVG technology. So here is a complete SVG tutorial, and here's a code, about 20 lines, okay, 30 lines to create this clock. Okay, so that is my JavaScript tutorial. So if you like it, you can buy it, get the entire thing. Thank you. So one of my tutorial, so let's go back to, now let's go back to talk about what are the best tutorials for JavaScript, okay? So first of all, one of them I recommend is this one, new edition. I trust it's great, okay? No, I don't doubt him, this guy, David Flanagan. In fact, I have an article on him. If you go to xali.info, click on search, let's just say JavaScript, and I have 5,500 pages on JavaScript. Okay, so David yeah. So I read this book. 2013. Okay, from cover to cover. Okay, and I'm so very impressed. Okay, this is the best one. So this, and I explain why. It is the best. Okay, and then, so let's copy that and put to the talk show. Are you guys still here? Are you guys still with me? Any comments? And then I give you some JavaScript book review. Okay, so this is the old, version, edition, JavaScript, the definitive guide. And meanwhile, this is also fantastic. JavaScript, the book, The Good Parts, by this guy, Douglas Crawford. I highly respect, okay, both of them. Both of them are old, more than 15 years old. Okay, so they are not useful today. You want the new version, but however, these two are responsible for making JavaScript popular. As in both of them are fantastic. Okay, the Douglas Crawford, he is one of the the main leader, the technical leader when Yahoo was over, during year 2000s. He's responsible for spreading the idea that JavaScript is one of the best functional programming language. Okay, JavaScript, The Good Parts, very thin book. Okay, so these are the best JavaScript books. These two, nothing else. Okay, you might hear other opinions about Ninja or something shit. Okay, these two. However, now they are outdated. Now they are worthless because JavaScript has a facelift in the past 10 years. Version, every year you have a new version. So these two books are useless today. However, each one of them has a new version. So we found a new version for that one. This one also have a new edition. So let me show you. JavaScript, The Good Parts. Okay, first of all, let's copy it here. JavaScript book review 2018. Okay. So now let's go to The Good Parts, JavaScript, The Good Parts by Douglas Crawford. Okay, the best, one of the top 10 expert of JavaScript. Now he's got a new version. Okay, let me show you. So this one is let me show you, where is it? Why is it not even showing here? Let's click his name. He wrote a new book about 4 or 5 years ago on JavaScript. Okay, so Douglas Crawford. Why is it clicking not work? What happened to... Okay, finally, okay. Here, okay, this one. How JavaScript works. So he wrote a new book about 4 years ago. I would also trust this one. So this is kind of the new edition of the good parts. This is a new one, okay? I trust this one. So this I would consider one of the top 5 JavaScript book. Okay? What's his name? How is it spelled? Okay. Any comments, questions on the Rhino book? Yeah. Fuck. Okay, so that's two. You know, one is the Rhino book, new edition, and one is how JavaScript works, and also, of course, mine. Then let me tell you about the others. Okay. Then we have this eloquent JavaScript. Okay, this guy, Marajin Haverbeck. He is a JavaScript master. However, this eloquent JavaScript is for beginners, kind of for people who never programmed before. So I trust this is a good book for those people, but not for if you already know a language. And also, I don't like the writing style. By the way, this book is also free online. You know, just search for the name Eloquent JavaScript. You'll find it. You know, I believe it's open source even on his Git. So it's free online. It's for absolute beginners who never programmed, you know, anything. And the style of this book I don't like. So I don't like, you know, and so what's the style? His style is storytelling. You know, each chapter he tells you an elaborate story, like nothing to do with programming. You know, he make it like, you know, he talking, you know, the story. That's the worst programming tutorial for me. You know, I don't want. I want just the relevant. You know, the thing. I don't have time to. You know, if I want to read a story, I read a fiction. I read a novel. I read Shakespeare. You know, I don't want a story. I don't want, you know, you telling me a story in a programming context. Okay, but if you like that. And if you are a pure beginner, you don't know any programming before, this is a good book for you. Okay. Now this book's writing style is in sharp contrast to my JavaScript tutorial. My JavaScript tutorial is pure math. Okay. I tell you, you know, when you say math, people get fear. You know, people think, oh, math, I don't want it. But actually it's a most concise, most concrete, and most dense. You know, so each paragraph, you know, so you have, for beginners, you can read here. Then you have, you know, it starts to get complex properties. What's a property? Every sentence counts. Every sentence is critical. Okay, it tells you exactly when you type this what happens. Okay, and it doesn't talk in terms of big computer science or patterns, programming patterns, or idioms. Oh, you should do it this way, or dry principle, do it only once. Fucking shit. Or Unix philosophy. Okay, there's no philosophy. It's just like mathematics. Every sentence counts, and almost every paragraph has an example. Okay, every paragraph has a code, standalone code you can run in a browser. For example, this part is telling you, what's a parent function. Okay, you can run right away in browser. Like you can copy it. In browser, I also tell you how to start the browser console. You paste it there. True. It returns true. Every part independent you can run. Every paragraph has a code that demonstrate how it is, the concept you just learned. So JavaScript, okay, JavaScript in depth. So that is my style, purely mathematical and dense, and in sharp contrast to this guy telling a story. Like 1,000 words, 900 words are about the story, about something like that. Okay, so I don't like this book, and it's also for beginners. Okay, so we already covered two of the best books I want to say. One is that. So there's another. Okay, so let me show you. JavaScript. So let me. I know there are one or two more books that I can recommend. Most gifted. JavaScript and jQuery. Don't never use jQuery. Okay, do not use jQuery. Because jQuery was invented in the 2000s. That's when JavaScript sucks. But since 2016 or something, I forgot the exact date. There is a JavaScript started to have a massive revision. And you don't need jQuery anymore. Okay, so let me put that out there. So that's another book. So so what are we? We are trying to find another top JavaScript book. Why is it not listed here? Let's see. Learn JavaScript quickly. No, those are quickly. Those are all. React, and JavaScript visually, tons of people trying to make a, this one. Did they change the author? This one I read before. I don't like it because he's also an expert, but he kept talking in terms of patterns. Is this a new edition or? I don't like this book. Okay, this JavaScript for professional JavaScript for web developer. It's no good. He talks in terms of patterns, like, this, if you want factory pattern, you do this. Idiotic. There's a lot of the JavaScript book, but a lot of them are just no good. Okay, so you have to be very careful. Buy just the ones I mentioned. Okay, they are all trying to make a buck because JavaScript is the most popular programming language. JavaScript, Python, the top two most popular programming language, and also Java and C++. Okay, so I didn't find it here. So let me just type the name. You don't know JavaScript. Okay, that's the one. Okay, so this book I also trust. I didn't read it, but I also trust its quality and correctness. Okay, now this book. Now it becomes a series of books. It began on GitHub as someone trying to collect, all the Stack Overflow by Kyle Simpson. Okay, so it began as a collecting all the surprising things, tips about JavaScript. It began as that. Now it becomes a series of books. I also trust this one. Okay, so if you like it, you can buy this one. You don't know JavaScript, because the reason this become popular, because first of all, it's good quality. Okay, but as the title suggests, you've been coding JavaScript for, let's say, 2 years, but then when you read this book or my book, or you'll see, oh, I didn't know that. Oh, what? That's array. I can't believe it. There's tons of things like that in JavaScript. That's why this book says, with the catchy title, you don't know JavaScript. I don't care. You work at Google. You don't know shit. Okay, you don't know JavaScript. So that's this book I can recommend. Okay. So that's it about it today. Okay, so that's the few books I can recommend about JavaScript. Lastly, let me talk about Mozilla. The Mozilla ref for JavaScript. Because most people, they'll just say Mozilla is the best. That's idiots. Okay, because they haven't seen anything else. Because Mozilla is free, open source and free. They haven't seen anything else. Mozilla is the JavaScript tutorial on Mozilla. Let me show you. Okay, so if you just search for JavaScript tutorial, there's tons by Indian, by the fucking idiotic W3 schools is the worst. Okay, lots of misinformation, but they are popular because they just teach you the 1% of Java, the 10% of JavaScript that everyone, the beginner who never programmed before, but they heard that programming can make a lot of money. That's what these tutorials are. Okay. The modern, I don't know which one is this. The modern, they all trying to make up money. I don't know that one. JavaScript tutorial.net, whatever. Tutorial point is another, lots of scams, and they're trying to make money and ads. JavaScript tutorial for beginner, Guru 99 from some idiot. Okay, so all this is crap. Okay, Java Point is another commercial tutorial website. They started about 10 years ago. Okay, here is the Mozilla. Okay, Mozilla's JavaScript is the worst. Okay, if you read it, it's misleading. Okay, Mozilla's JavaScript is the worst of all that I've talked about. Okay, so misleading shit. You learn it, you build up lots of misleading information, and later on you have to relearn. Okay, Mozilla. The writing quality is also bad. They don't know what this is open source, wiki. That's what they are, wiki. But they improved a lot about 5 years ago, because you know why? Because apparently there's a consortium, behind the big companies, Google, Firefox, Microsoft, Apple. They started to have, and the JavaScript consortium or whatever, they have a JavaScript spec every year. I mean the people behind, trying to decide which feature they're gonna add. So anyway, a group of industrial people for web dev, they gathered, they decided, JavaScript, you don't have a documentation, and the spec is impossible to read. It's not for programmers, but even for JavaScript compiler creators, the JavaScript spec is not good. Okay. So anyway, and JavaScript doesn't have any documentation, so that's a problem. So these people decided they're gonna focus on one single JavaScript documentation, and they decided it's gonna be Mozilla. So Microsoft, they used to have their own JavaScript documentation. They removed it. Now, if you go there, they just tell you visit Mozilla's JavaScript. Okay, so Apple, they used to also have JavaScript, some tutorial. It's all good. Okay, so I mean, in particular, Microsoft has one big chunk of JavaScript tutorial. Okay, that teaches language, and another tens of pages about JavaScript reference, documenting all the object. Now it's all good. They just link to the Mozilla now. At first I didn't know why. I was thinking, wait, what? Wow. Because I've been observing, the Microsoft documentation on JavaScript for 15 years. One day I just realized, hey, they just point to Mozilla. How did that happen? Because usually these companies, they don't, they are enemies to each other. So how come Microsoft, they point their, JavaScript to Mozilla, and Mozilla sucks. Mozilla JavaScript sucks. Then after 2 years, I found out, because there's some kind of consortium behind it. They decided they want to push out one, like, the documentation for JavaScript. Okay, so anyway, Mozilla's JavaScript doc is the worst. Okay, I haven't read it for a few years, but I don't think it's that good. Okay, but however, the Mozilla JavaScript reference, okay, especially on things that happening at latest, the last year, because every year there's new version of JavaScript. So those are critical. Mozilla, nothing else. All these books you won't find, because they are, they don't update as often. So if you are at the cutting edge of the browser, browser come out with new versions every year, in fact, multiple versions. So there's a lot of changes to their implementation and so on. So if you are a professional JavaScript dev, then Mozilla is critical, okay? Mozilla's JavaScript reference, because they'll tell you the latest CSS, HTML, or JavaScript, how they changed, and which browser supported, so Mozilla is good for that. However, their JavaScript tutorial is the worst. Now look at let me dive into, give you an analysis why is it worst. Okay, JavaScript, Mozilla, JavaScript JS is a lightweight, interpreted, or just-in-time compiled programming language with first-class functions. The first sentence, the most idiotic shit, incomprehensible. So it's a lightweight. What? In what way it's lightweight? Interpreted. Oh, so as opposed to compiled, because if you are a nerd, then you understand interpreted versus compiled. Technical jargon, no relevance to JavaScript programmers. Okay, and just in time they are ass. Those are technical stuff. Just in time compiled programming language. Oh, it's interpreted, then just in time compiled. Okay, and with first class functions, the most idiotic, babbling. First class function. What does that mean? That jargon came from the scheme Lisp phonetics. Okay. I'm not going to explain. So, and then it says, while it's most well known as the scripting language of web pages, many non-browser environments also use it, such as Node.js, blah, blah, blah. Idiots, okay? So that's it. That's my opinion about JavaScript and web dev languages. Okay, so let me just get these two. Okay, so here is what we talked about. The different languages: Elixir, Elm, PureScript, ReasonML, JavaScript, TypeScript, which one to choose, and then best tutorials for JavaScript, and why do I think that way, okay? George, hello George. Why do you have sound when you change tab? That came from sticky keys. So it's not so you hear the sound is because the sticky keys is on, and it makes a sound whenever you have modifiers. So when I change tab, it's actually I press this key. It's actually a macro, so it actually presses Control-Shift-Tab. And because, so it's pressing Control-Shift-Tab very fast, but since I have sticky keys, that's why it makes a sound, and actually I turned it down, but I guess you can still hear it. Yeah, you hear it from my speaker, I guess. But if I turn this up, you'll hear. Get ready, okay? See, I press Alt. You see, that's the sticky keys. Is there any benefit to the beep? Okay, so that's it. Thank you guys for watching. What is this guy? So I've been talking for 60 minutes exactly. Okay. Yes, I'm gonna buy it in future once I learn JavaScript. Okay, I appreciate sharing your opinion. It's good language, but not popular indeed. Okay, I find this, yeah, Campbell Batten. Oh, yeah. So let me make a quick note about that. Okay, so what? Go to talk show. So yesterday, last time I did a YouTube on auto format Emacs list code. So Campbell Barton write a auto formatter for Emacs list code, and in this tutorial I thought it's bad, but actually it's pretty good. Okay, it's pretty good. So I'm gonna do a new video on this auto format in next week or next 2 weeks. You know, when I get to, you know, there's a lot update, and so it's pretty good, I think. Yeah, I think it's pretty good. I'm gonna do another video. So for now you can just go to his website. You know, just search for Emacs Elisp auto format ideasman 42. So it's very good. So hopefully this will revolutionize Emacs Lisp coding. So you no longer have to press tab, you know, at each line. You just press one key, it'll reformat your whole file, and fast. Okay. That's it for today. Thank you guys. Bye. Oh, there's a new functional language by Simon Python Jones, who is famous for Haskell. And this language is called verse calculus. No, I don't know. I didn't know that. You know, so Lico 12 made a comment on my live show video about homotopy type theory. So apparently Lico 12 knows a lot about it. Yeah, I still want to learn, so I'm too slow. I need so much to do. I need to learn, you know, Coq, probably, or one of the other, you know, the assisted proof systems, you know, programming language for doing math proofs. So while also learning homotopy type theory, and there are several languages I know that is kind of the, let's say, newer Haskell, like, you know, there's Idris, you know, a few. I don't know much about them, but yeah. Okay, bye.